Hi there, this is the first step of the fills course. We are going to work on a very single fill, which is going to be single stroke rolls adapted on the drum set. We're going to play 4 bars of single stroke note and then 1 bar of rest note, so that we don't get too tired and we can practice it for a while. This is just an exercise for a 4 bars field. So in the next lessons we're gonna see longer bars, so 6, 8 and so on bars, but for today we're just gonna play 4 bars and then 1 bar rest. With this exercise we're going to develop and improve our agility on the drum set, so that we will be able to work to move around the set with single strokes easily without having hard times playing. We're going to work on isolating and using specific parts of our body to play on the toms and floor tom, which is the wrist, which sometimes when you get out of a blast beat or you're using your, doing 16 notes and a hi-hat or something, and then you play a fill, 16 notes stroke, single stroke fill on the toms, and then you go back playing a blast beat or whatever it is, you get very tired and you kind of get stiff and you lose the rebound a little bit. So for that reason, this exercise will help us working on the wrists, so that we don't get tired, we don't get too stiff when we will play single stroke notes around the set, which is very helpful. Actually for me it's like literally between blast beats, when I do a fill, it's like resting my fingers, because I usually play blast with my fingers now, and then I go on the toms and I use my wrist, and then I go back on the fingers, so it kind of gives me a break in between blast beats, instead of being something that makes me even more tired, that makes me stiff. And also we will develop our creativity, of course, because we will try to find as many solutions as possible, having the limits of having only 4 bars to develop something, and only using single strokes. So we will have to push ourselves to think of many different solutions in order to have as many different fields as possible. Another very important thing about this exercise is that we're going to learn how to play fills without leaning in front or laterally following the fill, but just moving our arms in front, so that we don't move our balance and we don't find ourselves with all the weight on the ankles. But we keep our ankles free, so that when the fill is finished we can easily go back and playing what we were playing. So instead of doing something like this, we will play it in this way. So balance steady on the seat in order to still develop my agility, but without losing the freedom of the ankles. So the best way to start working on this exercise is to start with a simple idea, maybe just go through the toms, so snare, tom, tom, floor tom, so that we just think about concentrating on using our wrist, not moving the balance, and improving our agility, our dynamics and sound. So more a technical aspect, working more on a technical aspect of playing this kind of fills. In this part, let's do it without the clicks, so that we can literally just feel our body, listen to what we're doing, and concentrate on all these things, and then start creating new ideas, so new combinations, and then increase the speed, and then applying it on a blast beat or another groove or whatever wherever we want to use this kind of fills. So once again, the things that we have to think about is using our wrist, not leaning in front or laterally, turning only our the trunk of our body, so the upper part of our body, leaving the legs in the right position. Even if our drum set is very big, let's try to rotate this part and not moving the balance or following anything, but just expand and stretch your arms to reach whatever. So set your drum set in order that you can reach everything just by moving your arms and rotating on only the upper part of your body, so that you're always comfortable and you always have your ankles free. Keep the tip of the sticks in the center of the toms and of the snare for a sound matter. So it's very important to keep to have a nice sound, and try to always move smoothly around the set and try not to be too stiff in the motions, and always very relaxed, so that it's basically going to be always this motion with our wrist, and we will just move it around the set in that way on whatever tom or surface or part of the drums that we want to play. So that's the best, let's say, approach to have and to think about. It's not being super stiff, but keeping this in mind and just move it around the set, so that will give us more agility, we will be more relaxed, and it will be easier. We will play louder, we won't get tired. So I will give you a demonstration of 4 different combinations of single stroke roll fills around the drum set. I will play 4 bars and then 1 bar of rest that I will play with my doing 16 notes with my feet, so that I'm sure and I get used to keeping the balance in the right place. So I force myself to fill in the rest bar with 16 30-second notes with my bass drum. So the first fill is just gonna be snare, tom, tom, floor tom, and a bar of rest. In the second combination, I'm just gonna move my right hand on the toms, keeping the left hand on the snare. I will tend to use more fingers on the snare since it has a good rebound, and more wrist on the toms. Third combination it's gonna be the same thing, but I will move my left hand instead of my right hand. So I will move my left hand on the toms in front of me, keeping the right hand on the snare, using more fingers on the right, which has a good rebound of the snare, using more wrist with my left hand on the toms. Fourth combination is going to be a mix of all the combinations that we saw today. So I will start on the snare, move my left hand on the toms, then move both hands on the second tom, and then move my right hand on the floor tom. So this lesson will benefit us to play single stroke rolls, fills around the set smoothly without getting any contraction, without getting tired, but actually gaining power, gaining volume, and having more ideas, more combinations, keeping our balance steady and not moving it around, leaning in front or laterally, and will also of course help us to be more creative, using maybe less part of the drums, so we can even not, we're not forced to use all the toms. These 4 combinations that I did were just an example. You can actually build your own, you can go on cymbals. Just make sure that those 4 bars without the rest bar are not going to be linears or anything like that. It's going to be 30-second notes of single stroke rolls that you just move around the set as you prefer. Be creative, come up with good ideas, and then apply them. The next step is just going to be playing a groove, putting a tempo, playing a groove. Can be a blast beat, can be whatever you guys are playing, and then applying these new ideas that you guys have, and see how they sound. You can also follow the guitar, but remember, the steps to learn this is, first of all, work on the technical part, so make sure everything works, then speed it up with the click tracks, then apply it on the groove. Enjoy, and I'll see you next week.